Today we're going to talk a little bit more about data and what data means in terms of your teaching portfolio. So again, just a recap of the first workshop. The purpose of the workshop: highlight your growth, your experience, and your strengths as a teacher. Serve as part of a formal process for reflecting on one's practice and developing one's strengths as a teacher. I mentioned supporting our college and university accreditation, so whether it's ABET or AUPHA, then some of the accreditations as well in the university, looking to see who our instructors are and the wonderful work you're doing and who you are as a person as well. Like I said, we talked a little about discovering your teaching style, and then how to write a DI statement and teaching philosophy. And if anyone needs any refresher on that, I did send out the recording from the first workshop, so let me know if you would like that sent again. We'll move on. All right. I found this rubric just to also help you develop your philosophy, your teaching philosophy. I know we use rubric for our students, so here's an opportunity as an instructor to use a rubric on your own self and to determine how effective your teaching philosophy statement is. And so you can grade yourself on a 1 through 5 scale on the persuasiveness of your philosophy statement. Is it authentic? Focus on teacher personal? Does it give specific examples of theories and strategies and methods used to achieve teaching and learning goals? Is it specific to the field of study, but avoids relying on trite phrases or jargon? So I know each of our fields rely on a lot of jargon, so is it plain enough for people to read? Does it convey a sense of your teaching personal development? Shows continuous self-evaluation and improvement? Does it define the student-teacher relationship? And does it recognize possible problems and possible solutions? And then finally, your enthusiasm for teaching is evident. And please feel free, if you have any questions in all of this, feel free to raise your hand, or if you want to discuss this more and have questions, please feel to chime in. Then the final part is just on the formatting. And in the formatting, with your teaching philosophy, or whether it's your teaching portfolio, just being a little bit creative. You don't have to follow a strict rule about how your teaching portfolio will look like. So be creative, adding quotes. If you have pictures that reflect who you are or that you want to show, put those in there. So like I said, be creative when you design your teaching portfolio. All right. So now this workshop is looking at gathering evidence. So this is your portion of it. So the evidence that you're gathering, that things that are important to you. So as you design your teaching portfolio, remember you are doing research on yourself as an instructor. So you are doing a self-study. So take time to reflect deeply on who you are as an instructor and gathering data about your teaching. So this comes in your pieces on reflection. Like I said, really taking time to reflect on who you are as an instructor. Before some of you came on, I mentioned this for Raya. This gives you an opportunity just to reflect on you. The teaching portfolio is not something that is done in a day or 2 days. This is something that should take a little time. Give you an opportunity to really examine who you are as an instructor, including in there your CV or your resume, bringing in your course syllabus. So we know what you're teaching, the modules in your courses, so those can be reviewed. Then bringing in your professional development, both inside and outside of teaching, because hopefully you're also doing professional development in your career, and so sharing those with the reader as well, so they're knowing what you're doing related to your field. And then of course any professional development that is helping you as a instructor, helping you improve your management of your course, helping you improve in your relationship with your students. And learning, teaching, and grants. I know many of you are adjuncts. I don't know if you have teaching grants, but if you have any grants that you earned, please share those as well. And then finally, recording your teaching. I know that may seem a little odd, but if you haven't done so, take a moment to record yourself teaching so that you can critique yourself in how you've done in managing your class and how you were engaged with the students, how you move through your material in your class. Look for ways of improving as an instructor. So one way, again, is recording yourself as you teach or instruct. So this is the you part. Now this is gathering evidence from others. So your colleagues, getting peer reviews of teaching observations. So if you have opportunity for one of your peers to observe you teach, sitting down and talking with them and asking them what did they observe in you as you taught your class, and how were students engaged. Letters from colleagues, those letters that, those kudo letters, or the letters that share, letters from your colleagues that speak of you as an instructor, that speak of you as a professional as well. So include those in your portfolio. And then again, if you've received any teaching recognition, so sharing those awards and recognitions that you receive for your teaching. Then the second part of the evidence from others is students. So feedback, hearing from students. What are students saying about you as an instructor? How are they engaged in your class? Testimonies and informal notes or emails. I think, excuse me, that's an error in there. Notes or emails. We'll receive those little notes from our students commending you on the job you're doing. So keeping a list of those, or keeping those in a file so that you can include those in your portfolio. Then finally, your classroom assessment, your SRTs and evaluations. Taking time to review your SRTs and seeing what your students are saying about you. Your mid-quarter or midterm evaluations, reading those as well, and including those in your portfolio. Now, this was supposed to be our time for breakouts, so I'm actually gonna stop my sharing real quick. And because we have a small group, we may have to just do this as one. I was hoping we're gonna have a few more, then we can actually break out and see, or take time to share what you worked on. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instructors. So I don't know if any of you have begun working on your philosophy statement. And if so, if you care to share what the process was like for you and what did you learn?
Sorry, Tony, I have not started yet.
That's fine. I was gonna say, yes, that's fine too if you have not started. Like I said, this is an evolving process. And so this gives you an opportunity to hear what others are doing. So
I echo that. I have not started yet either, so ditto. But the timing is pretty impeccable. I guess I will share that. I don't know if I'll do this in tandem with leadership philosophy as a business kind of rebranding and looking at, you know, on the marketing end, we're always talking about creating blogs and thought leadership and so forth. So this will be a real good exercise that I hope to do in tandem, teaching philosophy, thought leadership, compare, contrast, blend. But no, I do not have a philosophy yet.
No, I haven't put anything to paper. I think I appreciated the diagrams that you had and the tables that you had. Are you going to be sending out handouts after?
I'll share the video again, but yes, if you want handouts, if you need, if that
That would,
that's out there.
that would be really good. The self-evaluation piece, I think, is really useful.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
Given that we're doing our third accreditation visit here next year, this is certainly something that would be a plus factor for the site visitors to have a teaching portfolio put together for our faculty. That's always something that's asked for. Not as in depth, though, typically as what you've provided here, but I think it gives certainly a lot more color, especially for adjunct faculty members, people that accreditors don't feel necessarily have all the depth of experience in teaching, but they have the depth of experience and knowledge. And so this would certainly help to strengthen the portfolio of our program to have these done for every faculty member.
Yeah, and I was talking with Michelle. Right now, it's not required, but it's strongly encouraged to have one. But yes, Peter, especially for the accreditation, yeah, think of the model of our college, but to have them say, oh, you know what, they kind of went a little bit beyond, and they're actually having their adjunct faculty do portfolios, which is something, like I said, commonly used for tenured professors or a lot of teaching assistants require as well do teaching portfolios.
I think it would be good if you had kind of a template that we could follow. And I think that would be something, if we started now, we could have that ready so that we could crush the evaluation and they'd be impressed. So
we're going to crush it anyway, Neil.
Yeah, I know. You guys are always crushing it.
And thanks again, Neil. As far as the template, yes, working on something, but we're trying to just figure out, okay, which company is going to help kind of host or hold all this material for us. And so I have a demo coming up Friday with our third company to help us manage our teaching portfolios for our faculty.
Oh, so I missed that. So there's going to be a company that
is our plan. And like there, you'll be able to just drop in, hopefully, like I said, if your CV or resume, just drop it in, pulling in your teaching philosophy, DI statement, just dropping those into the site, and they will manage that for us.
Yeah,
So
Peter, we're looking for software, basically.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Software. Should say software. Thank you.
So I'm sure this was discussed probably the first meeting, but ETA of deliverables for basically this teaching portfolio. What's the timeline, Anthony?
Well, I'm trying to figure that out because I want to give people an opportunity to work on this. And so I know it's not something that's expected this fall, but hopefully next spring or beginning next summer that we have something in place.
Yeah. And as far as the accreditation timeline, we have to submit our self-study by the end of June next year.
Okay, yeah.
And but we oftentimes don't have to have this kind of detail until the site visit. And typically we would be linking that via website anyway. So either June or probably end of September. So a year from now. That gives time to gather all those nice grams from the students and feedback and all that stuff, because you'll have 2 semesters to gather it.
Fair enough. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us, Julie. Right now we are just discussing the teaching philosophy. If anyone has written one, getting feedback on theirs. So no one has yet, and so don't feel if you haven't done so, but just hearing from others on their perspectives regarding their teaching philosophy.
Thank you. I'm sorry I was a little late. I got detained someplace else, but I have written them in the past for some of my former teaching positions, so I should be able to at least have something to start with rather than a blank piece of paper. So,
Yep.
assuming I can find it.
And in the ones that you've written in the past, how did you find the process? What did you do? Did you just lock yourself in a room and just work, or did you get input for others? How did you go about your process of writing your teaching philosophy?
Just a lot of reflection on just my experience as well as feedback that I received.
Thank you. And Deborah, welcome. Kind of went through the slide presentation. So right now we're just discussing teaching philosophy and getting feedback from others. And don't worry if you have not written your teaching philosophy.
Thank you, and apologize for being late.
No problem.
So I guess that's, Tony, I just bring up the question. So, you know, that whole, when I hear the word teaching philosophy, it's like, oh my God, you know, you're sitting on a mountaintop, you know, and you're trying to come up with that perfect, you know, phrase or whatever that defines it. But, you know, what is actually philosophy in this context? I mean, that's maybe a philosophical question all on its own, but how do you start? What do you ask yourself?
Let me get to my notes here.
So if you give me a minute, I'd ask ChatGPT for a template of a teaching philosophy statement, and it's still going. But I will go ahead and forward. I'll share it in the chat in just a sec. I don't know if that helps, but maybe gives a place to start from. I don't know. So hold on.
For myself, it's probably, you know, what inspires you to teach in the first place is not necessarily a philosophy of teaching, but it's something that establishes the framework for how you know, approach teaching. You have to want to do it in the first place.
Yeah. And what is your expectation from your students? What should your students get from you as an instructor? It should make up your philosophy as well.
And then you could also consider the greater industry that we represent, we each mutually represent, as what does your philosophy do to support the industry? Possibly.
Yeah. And I'm reading something as well. Philosophy also talks about what you would like to improve on as well. Where are maybe some of those shortcomings or maybe even blind spots as an instructor? I was in a meeting yesterday and we were talking about inclusivity. What does that mean for you as an instructor? I imagine that would be part of your philosophy.
Yeah, I don't know if folks can open up the link, but if you can, all of the things that you've been talking about have been captured here, I think. Again, I don't know that this is what we want to use, but maybe it helps to launch, you know, get folks to start focusing what they're thinking about. So that student-centered learning, you know, it talks about, you know, introducing yourself and then core beliefs. And then one of the things is a statement about inclusivity and equity. Active learning, student-centered learning, teaching methods and strategies, assessment techniques, creating positive learning environment, professional development, reflective practice, and then a conclusion. I don't know if there's things that are missing there. I'm not an instructor, so it's not intuitive for me, but there may be something that's glaringly missing.
You're also not artificially intelligent, Michelle. So
Definitely not organically or artificially. I'm just a blank slate.
So in my doctoral program, we actually had to take a teaching methods course, which is kind of unusual for a research degree. And so we were required to develop a whole teaching portfolio, and part of it was the teaching philosophy. And obviously that was 15 years ago now, but I continually update it. It starts to get a little time consuming updating LinkedIn, your educator teacher portfolio. I also have an ORCID ID and a ResearchGate. So it starts to get a little crazy, and then your separate CV. But what I also include kind of in my teaching philosophy is also modalities that I'm comfortable teaching in. And with all of the advent of technology, I also include technology that I have become proficient in. So that's kind of part of the teaching methods and strategies in this ChatGPT section, I think is important.
Thank you. Yeah. Now, how do you keep? Do you just keep a Google file of your teaching portfolio, or do you have it somewhere else?
Yeah, I have a Google, a Google file with it's got. I mean, here, I guess I can. Oh, if you want to give me sharing, I can just show
Sure
you.
can. There you go.
So my portfolio, it changes over time, but this is what it looks like right now. So it's got my CV with like all the different kind of stuff. It's got my philosophy of teaching and education, my DEI statement, feedback and evaluation, which are like SRTs or like those, what do you call those teaching things, certificate things that you get from the main office?
Thank a teacher.
Thank a teacher. There we go. Thank a teacher. And then a sample syllabus. So like my philosophy of teaching and education, which I'm currently revising, as you can see, I started in 2023. So that's kind of what I do. I take a teacher learner perspective is kind of my, so that's just kind of what mine looks like. Just simple document. Yes.
Wow.
Thank you, Rajan.
They require this kind of stuff for like grant applications and stuff. And so because my position is funded kind of differently, I have to whip these out pretty quickly each year. So.
Thank you. Anybody have any other things they want to share? Thank you, Rajan. That was just what I wanted to see. All right. Well, we've been here for half an hour. I don't want to hold us up for our busy days. For our busy day. Again, thank you all for coming to the second of the workshops. We do have a third one planned, and the third one is just kind of putting it all together. And so hopefully by the third one, I have an ideal of a company that will be able to host our teaching portfolios. If you have any other questions before that time, if you want to get together with anybody to help review your teaching philosophy, please reach out. Fortunately, Shara could not be here today, but she said if you have any questions, you can reach out to her as well.
Tony, would you like folks to start at least just thinking about maybe some of the things that are on? I know, again, we might not be using that template, but the things that were, I think it seems like some of that is good material, the template that was generated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll share that as well. Yes, you could use that and just kind of have a place to store or start putting things down, so that when we do have a place, you're like, oh, I'm all set. I've been working on this, and we have a place to put it.
Awesome.
Tony, this is Deb Rudquist. I was unable to attend the first seminar. Are these being taped, and could
Yes, they are.
Okay, how would I find the links?
I can send the links out again.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Send it out again. Thank you, Deborah.
Deborah, you should have gotten, well, unless you delete old emails, right after the last one, Tony sent out an email with the link from the first one. But Tony, why don't you, in the next one, send out links to
Send out
both the
both.
first and
Yep.
this one? Yeah, awesome.
That's the plan.
Perfect. Yeah, I can go back and look too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. And we hope to see you at the next workshop.